Hello, everyone. I'm Sha, the writing and research half of the Tales and Oracle of 11. Some of you may know me as Little Cat on this channel, but for those who are new, hello, 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 and I hope you're having a great week, month, year, and beyond. I sit in absolute delight as we talk about some of the problems with Cambodia, of oral histories and general knowledge, his favorite Cambodian tale, and how he found the stories he knew as a child. All the while, the cafe he sits in continuously brews coffee, and the rain decides to interject where I am with some loud, cacophonous thunder. Somehow, in many of the Southeast Asian stories, there's always a crocodile in the picture, and we're very okay with that. Excluded from this video is when his laptop threw a tantrum and flung itself onto the floor and still refuses to perish. But we're not here for his belligerent old laptop. We're here for Uddam, also known as Benkuro, our artist from Cambodia. First thing we're going to do is I would like to introduce you to the public. Who are you? How would you like to be introduced? What are your pronouns? And where can the internet find you?
Uh, okay. Hi, my name is Uddam. I'm from Cambodia and I am an artist that goes by the name Pen Kuro. Pen is my surname and Kuro is sort of something like Japanese that I picked up from 12 years old and it stuck with me. So I can't change my name anymore.
No.
And uh, yeah, I am a digital illustrator in Phnom Penh, the capital city of Cambodia, and very excited to be part of the project, Oracles of the Sea. You can find me on Instagram at Penkuro and on Facebook at upenkuro, UPENKURO. And I used to have a website, but a Squarespace website, but it got too expensive, so I'm putting it on hold right now. After graduating, a friend of mine they approached me to start working in a startup called Wapatoa. It's like a it's a multimedia like a platform where I do illustration, and then
Mhm.
there is a partner of mine who do articles from like topics of environment, topics of education, and then so we sort of mix it together into like a storybook, but it's more educational.
Wow.
So so we translated that into our language, and then we share it across social media to promote like more fun, edutaining like content for my people to read,
Mhm.
because apparently we are quite bad at reading. Random fact is that Cambodia is one of uh, the first not the country who use the most voice messages in the world. Yeah, voice message on Facebook or like Messenger or anything.
That's
We only use voice
amazing.
messages.
Do you
Yeah.
know why? Is it because the level of education is low that they prefer to talk, or they just are lazy
No,
to text?
we hate texting in our own language.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
But why?
so because the keyboard is so difficult,
Okay,
and
fair.
yeah, so we resorted to like using voice messages on everything, or like
Ah,
using sort of like a English romanization of your like
of the language.
yeah.
Yeah.
So phonetically it sounds like your own language, but it's typed in English.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I'm sort of imagining, because most of Southeast Asian languages tend to be very tonal.
mm,
Um, Spelling it out would be quite difficult because you don't get that tonal change. I
yeah.
cannot give an example in Cambodian because I don't speak the language, but
Mm,
and Malay is not tonal at all. We're just tonal in the sense where the words become very emotional when we
mm,
talk about stuff, but there's
mm,
no difference between the same word.
mm.
Okay, no, I lie. There's one word. One is to kick, one is to slap. It's sepa and sepa. So
Oh,
if you
it's so
type that
close.
out, it's gonna be
I
difficult.
see.
Like, do you want to slap me or do you want to kick me? Like,
Yeah, we have the same situation, but it depends. Like if we write the whole sentence,
mhm.
people would be more like they would understand the context better. But
Mm,
yeah, it's such a difficult thing. So back to the topic.
exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Um, so after graduating, I worked on a small architectural project, but
hmm
I started receiving a lot more commissions in the art side
hmm
from like local coffee shops and like local festivals that's happening in Cambodia because I started drawing like digital arts I think around 18.
hmm
So I got my name a little bit recognized and people started to you know I started from doing free shits and for like artists for exposure kind of style. I started out by getting exposures, like earning money as exposure, exposure as money.
The
The word.
opposite of the free movement.
Yes. So, but it kind of helped give me some sort of platform to showcase my art, and after a lot of that, after being bad with money and stuff, I so So yeah, I think that's how I started with a few people who pushed me to show my art to other people, and I have a few digital artist friends in
hmm
Cambodia. We sort of like made a group together to like share artworks and techniques, and I would say these are one of the main catalysts to making me become an artist today.
hmm
So yeah.
That's awesome. The important questions I want to ask is more towards storytelling and stories and what you sort of knew growing up. Um,
Mm.
what was your how much do you know about your country's folktales and oral history?
So my grandmother used to be actually a bookseller.
Uh-huh.
So I grew up actually reading a lot of illustrated fairy tales and folk tales in my country by going to her store every weekend. So, but it has been like over 20 years since I've done that. So I don't remember much a lot of the other folk tales, but I do have like some sort of memories with like the little folk tales that have been existing in this country.
hmm
And it sometimes I find it surprising that uh, folktales from my country can also overlap with other folktales from other Asian countries as well, and it's very fun to find that connection.
I absolutely agree. That was one of the problems that I had trying to find stories for Tales of 11, right? Because I had to stop myself from picking stories that were endemic throughout the region, which means no, not to say no, but try not to get stories from Ramayana and Hindu mythologies, Buddhist mythologies, Islamic origin mythologies, like all of these things that
Mm,
are so pervasive in Southeast Asia
mm,
because we traveled a lot. We have a lot of ports. We had a
mm.
lot of trade that would bring
Yeah,
in all these different kinds of people to tell their stories and have it merge into our stories. So I had to
yeah.
look for indigenous, like really, really old stuff. Like it was so hard. It's so hard, especially
Yeah.
when oral history is not something that we value in this day and
Mm,
age, but it's coming
true.
back, I hope.
I hope so too.
Because we don't sit around the campfire and we don't tell stories about how children should behave anymore because we have other forms of entertainment.
Yeah, and other yeah, and education as well.
Yeah, and education. So there's a lot of things where it's creation myths, like how was the world made? How was
Mm,
Indonesia made? How was Cambodia created? Like which
mm.
angels came down and give us bread? That kind of thing. Um, I know
It
for a
was the
fact
Big Bang.
it was the Big Bang. Give us bread. within the Mekong side, which is where you guys are,
Mm.
there is a goddess of rice, like a rice goddess, that is endemic
Mm.
to that region. So I cannot use that story because everybody has the same rice goddess.
I
And I'm
see.
like, no, no, it has to be very hyper specific to the region. What about a favorite tale from your own country?
Um, there are a lot, and a lot of them tend to not end in a good note.
Well, you gotta share now.
Well, well, the only one that I can think of in out my head right now is it's a tale of like two mountains,
Uh-huh.
uh, and the story that and another one is a story that became the illustration for this project.
Okay, we'll talk about that later. But I want to hear about
Yeah,
the two mountains.
the the two mountains. It's like a lot of Cambodian folktales tend to have a sort of a real life, what's it called, connection to a certain parts of a certain area or a certain place in the province,
Mm-hmm.
so that so that people can so that the people think that the fable or the folktales are actually real. So they connected a lot of folktales to a real place that is in Cambodia. They would
Uh-huh.
see that they would look at the mountains and they would say, huh, I could turn the mountains into stories. So that's why you see Neang Konghing is a story out of from a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And so the two mountains is a story uh, about women and men wanting to they were having a competition. So about who's going to marry who, about marriage.
Uh-huh.
So and traditionally uh I in I let me try to remember it harder.
Take
So
your time.
So basically, it's a story about like who's going to court who for marriage. Traditionally in Cambodia, it was told that usually the woman would go to court the male to in order to like ask for marriage. But the
Mm.
woman wanted to change that so that the man would court them instead, would like go visit them instead to ask for their hand.
Uh-huh.
So the woman and the man ended up competing in a competition. So the competition is to what do you call it? Pile up uh, sands, pile up mud to create a mountain. Yes,
Uh-huh.
so to basically like build a mountain. But because of man has like a better physical build and like they're more, they can like more endurance and more strength. They build the mountains way faster. And well,
That is lightning and thunder.
wow. We don't have rain here yet. I think it's about to rain soon. But anyway, so the duration of piling up to build a mountain would
Mhm.
be by you can start building the mountain first until the first star of the first the first star of the morning sky or something like that.
Ah, okay. Okay, yeah. Yeah, like Venus, when you first see Venus.
Yes. So the woman they outsmarted the man by making a lantern and going up to a very tall mountain, and they put the lantern up in the sky so that the men would see the stars, and then they would go to sleep, go to rest, so that they can so they can continue building the next day. So they have like a time limit of like 2 days or something.
Uh-huh.
So during that time, the woman like muster their strength to complete and make the mountain taller than the man, that the man cannot
Keep
make
building.
up. Yeah, keep building. So at the end, like the woman team ended up like winning. So now, as you can see, the men starting to so they switch roles so that the men would like go court the woman for marriage
Uh,
and ask for their hand instead. Yeah.
just the whole idea of once upon a time,
Yeah.
women put their foot down and said, I don't want to ask you anymore.
Yeah.
Is hilarious to me, but that's irrelevant. Did you
Yeah.
find this story as an adult, or was it one of the stories that you read at your grandma's shelf?
Yeah, these both of these stories were illustrated in
Ah,
childhood stories.
uh-huh,
And I grew up reading and rereading when they redraw like new versions of it, like
uh-huh,
with different face or different angles, and like so it has been there for like years, and it just keep them they just keep repeating or redrawing stuff for a
uh-huh.
little kid. Maybe next time they start wearing like goggles and like mechanical armor and like trying to
Hmm.
like be riding like some sort of like surfboard on the sky.
That's wild. Like the future of that story is mech.
Absolutely.
How many variations have you read through the rain story so far? Like what are the differences? Not including the one that I just told you.
I'm pretty sure there's one in Thailand
Uh
which
huh.
has would say similar or more or less like the same. And I think it stemmed from Indian, also myth.
Mm, that
But
sounds interesting.
I haven't like done any deep research into like the origin of the story. I just
Mm-hmm.
like look at what is around the country and assemble some of the drawings that are similar to that story
Mm-hmm.
and piece it together.
That
Yeah.
makes sense. Mm-hmm. I see. I see. Okay.
But
Uh,
it would be so amazing if we can compile all the like similar stories of every countries and like make a I wouldn't say analysis, but a study into that. It would be so
yeah, just
fun.
like the different versions of the same story, right?
Yeah.
I know we could do that for the Hindu stories because it's so again endemic through
Yeah.
everywhere. You have the Ramayana and the what is that other Indian one? Mahabharata, I think.
Mm.
Like that is
Mahabharata.
just everywhere because
Mm.
the Indian subcontinent is so huge, and
Yep.
because they were such a superpower for a long time, not including during the British reign, but they were everywhere. They were tradesmen. India and China basically came and brought everybody everything, which is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, just compiling all of it would be so interesting, especially because Southeast Asia has a habit of like dividing ourselves and going, "This is mine." Like Malaysians be
Yeah.
like, "This is mine. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?" And then Indonesia will be like, "No, it's not. We came up with it."
Yeah. And it's so fun. I'm so glad that I think there's a way where we can do this like combining. There's definitely ways where we can connect with other artists or
Oh,
other
for sure.
people who can tell like these type of folk tales.
Yeah. The problem is we are so inundated with the Western stories like Grimm's
Mm,
Brothers Grimm,
I
Hans
know.
Christian Andersen,
I
Disney.
know. Yeah. Yeah. Disney, obviously.
Um, had a bit of a complaint with another artist about how Disney did Raya and the Last Dragon, and she was like,
Mm.
"That dragon is not Southeast Asian. That dragon is Chinese." And I was like, "You know what? You're right. Damn."
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Wow. I just had that brain problem.
It's like, whoa. But yeah, um,
Yeah. There's different types of dragons.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Like even within Southeast Asia, our dragons are so different.
Yeah.
In the
We
book
have this
itself,
long nose.
you have the long nosed one. I can't remember what it is. There's one with the big eyes. I think in the storybook itself, there's going to be 5 different dragons that are going to be
Mm.
illustrated.
Oh
So
wow.
I'm excited for everybody to see the difference between all of them
Wow, that'd be
because
so
they are
fun.
so incredibly different.
That's
And we had to
amazing.
find references for it. Oh, it's wild. It's wild. Also one of the stories from Malaysia, the Dragon of Tasechini. Some people
Mm.
say it's a woman. Some people say it's a man. So I'm just gonna sit in the middle and be like, They are both and
They are.
none.
Um,
They're non-binary dragons.
we
Okay,
love a
suck it up.
non-binary dragon.
We love our non-binary dragon. And I need more of that representation because I feel like we have been so coerced by Christian
That,
ideology, by Western
yeah,
ideology, that we forget that there are third genders. Pride Month
yeah.
is coming up. Um, yes. Um, and I wanted to sort of reflect this history that we have with non-binary philosophies, non-binary folktales. But
Mm,
again, it's so hard to find because these are oral storytellings,
mm,
and it most of them don't survive beyond colonization,
true.
which is really sad. So the idea of you wanting to collect all the same stories together, I think we should do that project eventually.
Absolutely.
You mentioned just now that the stories you knew always have like a sort of bad ending, right? What other
I,
problematic tales did you come across?
I won't say that. I mean, there are some good ones, but I think I don't remember a lot because I like the drama and I like to like sorry.
You like the drama, okay?
uh, I think there are some stories that cater toward like okay like the woman are stupid trope or the man need to be beefy, he need to be the savior trope, but like there are also some stories that even the one that I just mentioned about like the two mountains, the there there are I can see that some of the Cambodian stories there are some counter folk tales to those typical tropes
Hmm.
as well.
Uh-huh.
So there are problematic ones and there are also, I would say, progressive ones as well. But sometimes even in the progressive storyline, there will be the other trope where okay, like the woman is not women are not stupid in this story, but they have to fully respect the elders,
Ah,
which is problematic.
okay, fair. So it's a very touch and go kind of thing. Like you can be empowered one way and just depowered another way.
Absolutely. And there, like you mentioned, there's also the story about a very scrawny guy who has two strong wives who like fight
Hmm. What?
tigers. Yeah, who like fight tigers and stuff. Like we have this type of story. I have to go and look, and I can send you that story later.
Please do.
But we do have these type of stories where it's like completely out of like the normal like heterosexuality or like gender normative like construction
Uh-huh.
and I do enjoy them but I'll check it some more times. I
Okay.
haven't done enough research.
No, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to hear there is a polyamorous couple. No, polyamorous threesome with like two large wives, like strong wives with a scrawny husband. The husband's like essentially the husband is a wife and the wives are like beefy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Death by snoo snoo kind of thing.
Oh, mommy. Mommy
It's
style.
a 100% step on me mommy energy.
Absolutely.
Oh my god. I love this. I love looking at it. I love how shiny, shiny, glowy, glowy it is. But what attracted you to your chosen story? I don't know how to pronounce your chosen story.
So the story is so actually this story is um when I told you that the folktale has relate is related to a mountain,
Uh huh.
every folktale related to a mountain. But also this folktale is also taken there's also when I research more into it, there's also an Indian aspect of this
Hmm.
story.
Uh huh.
Like a Buddhist version of this story, and also like Cambodian folklore version of this story. And then they got mixed up together and like just mush into this like because people don't like historical or anything. They just like love stories and dramas,
Uh huh.
and they just okay. Let me look at this mountain, and if it resembles a woman, I'll make a story about it. Um,
That checks out.
um, so in the original Buddhist storyline is that this woman who has long hair and able to shoot out like water.
So she's a fireman.
She's technically a fighter. So if she like as I keep drawing it, I'm like, wait a minute, like what? Like the more she strokes her hair, she can dry the water. She can dry the sea, or she can release water and create oceans. So in the Buddhist scripture, like Buddha was meditating, and there are a bunch of I wouldn't what's the right term? They are not hooligans, but there are people who wants to interrupt Buddha's meditation.
They're just annoying kids.
I don't know,
Like
but yeah.
annoying people who are like, hey, stop meditating, let's go drinking.
Let me poke
Hey.
you.
Yeah, it's like
So she has uh she became sort of like a protector for Buddha while he's meditating by creating like the what's it called obstacles for the people to not be able to interrupt Buddhas during his meditation.
uh-huh.
That's one side of the story.
Uh-huh.
And in the other story is a story she actually did this artwork. There's a statue in the in my capital city of her and the and the crocodile. So I when Ambi asked me like, hey, draw something about your hometown, about your folktale, I every time I drive into this around the area, I would see her statue and see her like strokes her hair with a like a crocodile under her.
Uh-huh.
It's I decided to take this a chance to like showcase. Oh, there's a real life replica statue. There's a Buddhist context. There's also a mountain storyline version of her as well. So it's so wild that you can't really like fact check any of
I
these because
I
there
don't
is
I don't the only fact check I do with the stories is whether or not it exists in another culture. That's it. There's
they are
no
so
reason to
immense.
fact check anything. Like we're talking about people like, yeah, this dog gave birth to three girls. Like uh yeah, that's impossible.
I know,
But
but
okay.
so in sort of like Cambodian twisted way,
Uh-huh.
there was again a prince who falls in love with a local village woman, and she happens to raise a crocodile, and the crocodile became so huge that it looks like a dinosaur crocodile that is so huge, and and the king, when he noticed that the prince has been visiting the village often, he became sort of like infuriated. So he said, "Hey, you should not marry a commoner. I'll get you a wife that is like of royalty." So he started like giving calling the messenger and um, summoning the other royalty that hey, he has a prince to marry the princess to, and apparently the princess is the character that I drew,
Mm-hmm.
that she has this magical ability to shoot water.
Out of her hair.
Her hair, a hair hose.
No. 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 A hair hose. I cannot unthink this. This is terrible.
Anyway, the villager girl, she got envious, so she ordered the crocodile to again interrupt the prince on his way on his like ship voyage to the other kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
So the crocodile is so big that the people, the guards start throwing chicken, turtles, and cages at the crocodile so that the crocodile will get distracted. And then so and strangely, there's a goddess that somehow telepathically sends a message to the girl with the arrows to
I can't.
the prince.
You need to stop. Hairhose, really. That's the title of this interview. Hairhose. Uh, all I can think of now is her just going whoosh. I can't. Uh,
Anyway, she, so she started wring her hair out so that the ship would get dried. The ship, I mean, the water on her way to her kingdom would dry out, and then the crocodile would have to walk on the land to annoy the ship. But in the Cambodian storyline, if the water is gone, the crocodile dies. So the crocodile is technically a fish. Cambodia. So anyway, the crocodile died. She puts back the water, and the prince gets to marry the girl with the magical hair, and they live forever after, happily, whatever, ever after. And the girl with the crocodile pet, I don't know what happened to her. So
she,
they ended up, I don't know.
okay, wait. Let me get this straight. So the prince fell in love with the
Oh,
girl with
with
the crocodile
a,
pet.
with a pet crocodile,
And
yes.
then the dad got angry and said, "You're a prince. You shouldn't marry a random girl with the crocodile pet.
Yep.
You're marrying a princess who can throw water out of her hair." This is so stupid. I love it so much.
Anyway, I'm gonna send you the mountain.
Okay. No, I cannot. Like I
I have,
unironically love this story so much because there's a girl with a giant crocodile pet and another girl who's just like, I'm just gonna brush my hair so that the water disappears and your pet dies.
I won't say that the water disappeared. It's like her hair soak up all the ocean water.
She's she's a sponge. She's a sponge.
Sponge
She's a sponge.
girl.
Sponge girl. That's her superpower.
Sponge Heroes.
Sponge girl hair hose instead of SpongeBob SquarePants.
So I would like to say that there's a province with all the we have so there's a ship. We have a ship mountain,
Uh-huh.
crocodile mountain, turtle mountain, chicken mountain, cage mountain, like all like around the area
Uh-huh.
because like the 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 mountains, the everything that got discarded, it became a giant mountain at the end of the day. So if you
It's just
want,
it's a
whenever you
cartoon.
want to visit, whenever you want to visit Cambodia, I'll take you to all the mountains with historical reference for you. It would be a fun trip.
It would because we'll be on a boat and we can pretend it's the same boat. And they'll be like, yeah, so we threw a chicken, we threw a cage, we threw
A
another
turtle.
woman, we threw a turtle. Okay, I love this story. Hands down, I love this story.
Thank you.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So I can't get over it
God.
right now. She's a sponge. She's a sponge with a hair hose.
But but oh god, maybe I should redraw her. Just draw a sponge on her head.
No, don't you dare. I actually have a picture. So I'm looking at the picture right now, right? It is gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous. I know part of the
Thank
direction
you.
of you doing this piece of art is to reflect the statue that exists in town, right?
Yes, and absolutely from the Buddhist point of view instead of
Uh-huh.
the
Instead of
Cambodian,
the drama.
the Cambodian, the drama. Yeah.
The drama. Um but what made you make it all glowy? It's so pretty. It is so pretty.
I am always a fan of glowing things. I just love glowing things. I don't know, maybe her magical sponge give her like reflective, nice water, and there's people really like shiny things, and I do not know. I need to find a way to make black hair shines because I want to give importance to people with dark color hair as well.
Yeah.
So
I'm a fan of black hair. Black hair is
same.
beautiful. I also like drawings where they exemplify black hair by just making it pitch dark, like midnight. So it's a
Mm,
void within the photo. I've seen
mm,
a few artists do that where everything's so vibrant, but the hair is
mm.
black.
Oh
So the hair is
wow.
a void. And it is such a difference in, you know how the people always talk about negative space
Mm, yeah,
in artwork, in posters and stuff. I feel
yeah,
like the black hair becomes negative space.
true.
So I cannot give you an example right now, but that is gorgeous nonetheless. Anyway, so there is a thing at the bottom right corner of the picture where I'm guessing it's splashing of water where the crocodile comes out.
Yeah, yeah.
But I
But
saw the bottom corner of splashes because there's a W, right? It looks like a mustache. So it's just two rabbits hanging out, like two very extraordinary gentleman rabbit. Be like, yeah, quite so. Oh, there's a crocodile jumping out of our head. Yes, old chap. I'll send you the picture. I
oh
was
my
just
god.
nonsense looking at
Oh,
it like, oh my god, it's mustaches on a bunny.
oh my god. The fact that you can see a bunny in like waves, like gushing water waves. I cannot. You're
Uh,
crazy.
but
Thank you.
I I I also like how you did the water because there's so much texture in the water, like not literal texture, but the dots and the lines
Hmm.
and how it corresponds with her skirt as well.
I'm gonna say that if any Cambodians see this, they're gonna bash me into oblivion
Why?
because I did not follow the original Cambodian garment construction and how traditional Cambodian dress are looks like.
Okay, you have to explain to me because I know nothing. I'm a dumb Malaysian.
I see. So Cambodian has a very strong sense of pride about their history and about
Mm-hmm.
their cultural garments. So because we're like in sort of like a hell war, tug of war with Thailand and stuff,
Mm.
and I don't understand why it needs to be like that. We just like cut from the same cloth.
Literally and figuratively.
I know, but sometimes we there are a lot of people who appreciate histories to the point of that even a little bit of sort of like transformative stylizing or like fixing or editing or transforming a historical piece into a newer, more modern take
Mm-hmm.
would end up being criticism, would end up in the criticism
Yeah,
by other historians or other people who appreciate historical art.
yeah.
So,
I feel like that is a significant problem that I have personally because I'm sort of on the fence when it comes to do I want it hyper traditional
mm,
or do I
it's
want to
true.
modernize it so
Yeah,
that the current zeitgeist so that children now would be more empathetic towards the story.
yeah.
But when you're looking at traditional, how how old does it have to be considered traditional? Because some stories that I found are
Mm.
relatively new. Some stories
Mm.
came out in the 1920s.
Mm.
Like, is that old enough to be considered traditional
Traditional.
stories? Some stories existed since the 1600s. How
Yes.
many iterations that we have to go through? Which one is correct? Like, what
Mm.
determines the, well, how do I put this? What determines the naturalness? No, there's
And
a word for it.
the OG of it
Yeah,
all,
yeah. What
right?
is the OG? For want of a better
Yeah.
phrase, where is the OG? Who is the OG? And what is the OG?
Yeah. I feel like the amount of arts that are being made in this world,
Mm-hmm.
I would say that is adapted from history. And I personally respect history as it is. Like they are a huge
Mm-hmm.
factor to how people can become creative and continue to be creative for like like in this century because of like our masters or the old people who like take silly ideas and making it like amazing. But I understand like what makes the yeah, it's difficult to define like when is the time to like consider things as traditional and
Yeah.
when can we make modify or art like that. For
Mm-hmm.
me, I do appreciate I love I appreciate also modification in old arts and transform it for new generation.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't really sell a piece that is hyper like you know in the uh, our older centuries they love details, they love texture, but in this generation nobody likes intricate stuff anymore. They want things simplified. I
Yeah.
mean, more I think like more simplistic design.
It's sort
So
of understanding that at some point humans consume so much that we find solace in the Zen. Essentially,
yeah,
we
the
went
Zen.
from Art Deco to completely Zen.
Yeah, absolutely. We went from Renaissance to Renaissance.
Yeah, exactly. Ren is Zen. Ren is Zen.
in terms of in terms of like modifying history, I would say I'm very much okay with people taking a modern interpretation of old arts, but also give credits and respect what old art looks like and where you take it. This is the line that I can agree with. It's not like taking histories without giving credits to the history that you took.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like there is never going to be a new invention. Like everything is a reinvention of like what it used to be, but you're only like continuing to perfect
Yep.
or like make it
Was
for
it
the era that you live in.
somebody actually said, and I quote very poorly because first of all, I don't remember who said this, and I don't remember the full quote, but essentially there is no such thing as a creative thought anymore. I'm
I
not gonna say that is entirely correct, but
mm,
we're getting there. We're getting
we're
there.
getting definitely. I do think there is always I would say there is always something new, but this something new is always a combination of old things coming
Hmm.
together.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
also
don't know.
new depending on context. Like for example,
Absolutely.
if I didn't know anything about Icelandic culture
Mm,
and I naturally came up with something that is Icelandic, but I didn't know about it. It's new to me. It's fresh to me.
yeah.
It's creative. It is novel to me. But then an Icelandic person would be like, "No, we've had that for 300 years." Then I'll be like,
I know.
"Ah,
No, it's new to us. It's new to the
it's new to
world.
us." It's like how the Western countries always discover food that
Yeah.
actually exists in Asian countries all the
Yeah.
time. Thank you so much for sitting
Thank you
down and
too.
speaking with me for so long. I've taken enough of your time, I feel, but I had such a good chat. Um, I'm gonna say bye to everybody who has been listening,
Mm,
quote unquote, when this goes up. Thank you so much. We love you guys. Be good, be healthy, be safe. COVID still exists. Mask up. And thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye. Rice.
Rice.
Rice.